Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is October 10th, 2025. So, in a previous video, I was talking about how I started taking Lexapro, escitalopram, and I felt very positively towards it at first, within the few weeks of taking it. But I had to go off of it because while it did help with my anxiety, I've been having some emotional turmoil I've been dealing with lately, and it seems to have made it worse. Call it depression. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it was a little scary, and I just I stopped taking it. I might go back on it eventually because it did help. It did make a noticeable impact on my anxiety. I felt less anxious, less nervous in certain situations, which was great because it used to be extremely debilitating. Like, I couldn't even function. I wouldn't say I would have like panic attacks or whatever. That's not how it was, but I would get very, very, very nervous. I started shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't communicate properly. I would just become an utter mess, and it would freak a lot of people out, So, I don't know, maybe I should find something else, something different. That's the update on that. It's a little unfortunate. I mentioned how I was going through some emotional turmoil, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So, what's been happening at work has really lit a spark within the last few days for me to really get out of there as soon as possible. I try to do my best on most days, but I'm often taking the blame or receiving flack for things which half the time aren't even my fault necessarily. There's certain things that I forget to do when I'm baking or up at the front doing storefront. It's understandable. I try to own up to it. It's often been the case that I'm getting shit for stuff, and then I'm seeing other people receive special treatment, not receiving that level of flack, and it was on the same day that both the manager and the owner of the store were talking me down about not doing this, not doing that. This other girl who works there was offered a supervisor position, and she's been there for less time than I have. She's been there for over a year. I've been there for over 2 years at this point. She was basically told that, like, the manager told her that she was very impressed with her, and that she wants to give her certain responsibilities, like extra responsibilities, handling the office, and potentially even a raise. Now, granted, it's not that much of a raise. It's like probably like 50 cents more, but it's something, right? Now, do I want to become a supervisor? No, not necessarily. But when you put that in the contrast with how I was being treated that day, and what has happened in the past up until this point, it's very telling, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. It made me realize that I'm completely disposable, that I really just don't matter at that place whatsoever. And that lit a spark. I finally just said to myself, like, yeah, I gotta get out of here. Like, I'm done. So I've been going around. I know the job market is horrible. It's not getting any better. The economy sucks, especially with all the craziness happening in the U.S. But I went around and I handed in my resume at a gas station. I'm gonna go to a grocery store tomorrow and hand my resume there and just keep that ball rolling, because the sooner I get out of that place, the better. I mean, look, man, it's a minimum wage job. It's a dead end. I'm trying not to take it to heart, take it personally, but there's a lot of bullshit at a place like that. It's not a good environment. I mean, it's not the worst job. Like, it's not a hard job either. No, it's not. It's still not a good job, right? And yeah, just the way people act. How there's always gossip, people talking behind your back, people receiving special treatment, and I'm taking the blame for certain things, you know. And again, like, yeah, there's certain things I do forget that I fall short on, of course. But, you know, for someone who has been working there for less time than I have been, to be offered a supervisor position, or just, you know, extra responsibilities. Meanwhile, I was never ever pulled aside for that opportunity whatsoever throughout this entire time. I've been at Tim Hortons for about 4 years now, since 2021. Well, actually, about 3.5 years, because I was unemployed for about 8 months. In between, that was not a good time. It was kind of a mistake, because I didn't have anything lined up. And I came back to Tim Hortons after I left this one job I was working at for 4 days, because I realized it just wasn't for me. And I came back to Tim Hortons. I've worked at 3 different stores. Originally, I was only supposed to stay for just, you know, a couple months until I found something better, but I stuck around because of convenience, because it was so close to home, and I was able to tolerate it. But I think I've long overstayed my welcome, lack thereof. I've been there for too long, and I really need to move on and get out of that place. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but it entirely depends on whether or not I hear back from any of the places I'll be applying at, and I can go in for an interview and hope for the best. And, you know, I really want to actively invest in myself more, you know, get some licensing and certifications under my belt. You know, I was attending community college briefly, and then I backed out because it just wasn't worth it. I think someday I would definitely want to go back to school. I'm just not sure what it would be for, so I still have to figure it out. Maybe it'll be a trade, maybe it'll be something in healthcare, perhaps. I don't know. I'll just have to figure it out. But in the meantime, I definitely want to build up my skill sets, get certifications, get some licensing, start educating myself more. You know, I have a lot of time in my hands, and I just haven't been using it productively or wisely. And I just, I can't continue to stagnate, especially at my age. And what I've been doing over the last couple of months is I've been working out. Been working out 5 days a week. We have a an exercise machine downstairs. I don't know what brand it is. Here, I can look it up. Yeah, it's called a Marcy's home gym. Here, I'll pull up on the screen here, but this is kind of what it looks like. And you can do a whole bunch of exercises on it. You can do a chest press, a leg extension, lat pull downs, preacher curls. And so I've been sticking to an upper lower body split. So on one day I'll do upper body exercises. So I'll do my chest, biceps, triceps, shoulders, abs. And then the following day, the next day I'll do legs, quads, hamstrings, glutes. And yeah, I've been doing that every day for every weekday. I take breaks on the weekends. So from Monday to Friday I work out. And progress has been slow. I wasn't expecting like noticeable gains within the first few months. I don't expect to see anything like that until maybe 6 or 8 months in. And of course, that heavily hinges upon your diet, because it's not just about working out, it's about eating right, especially for someone like myself. I need to eat a lot to gain weight, and that gets pretty exhausting. Kind of tiring. So I'm not the biggest eater either, but I will say that there's some tonnage, and I have gained a decent amount of weight within the last year. And when I look at older photos of myself, it's actually pretty shocking just how underweight I was. Like when I was in my late teens, I distinctly remember being sub 120. And for my height, 6'1", that is horrible. I probably I might have still been growing at that time, so maybe I was like 6 foot, not 6'1". Still, that's very underweight. And I mean, you could see it. Like if you go back to my older videos, you can see like just how skinny I was. It was bad. And it wasn't that long ago that I was around 140-ish. That might have been like a year and a half ago, maybe, which is still pretty underweight. Now I am 160. My goal is around, I want to say like 190. If I can get up to there, along with some muscle mass that I've built, I'll be very happy with that. But it's gonna take a while to get to that point. I'm gonna stick to that routine, and since July, when I started working out, I've been very consistent with it. It's slow, but so far rewarding, and I'm already pleased with the results. Making the active choice to get into shape is a great first step, and I'm going to extend that towards other aspects of my life. Just really investing in myself, educating myself, picking up different skills, different hobbies, becoming a more well-rounded person overall. I'm 26 years old. I'm still young, but if the last decade has taught me anything, it's that time is very fleeting. It can pass you by just like that. And truth of the matter is, I just haven't been using it productively. I want to keep pushing forward and not continue stagnating. So anyways, that's all I gotta say about that.